Pitman Board of Education was posted at Borough Hall. A copy thereof delivered to all Pitman schools to be posted and posted on the district's website. Further, notice was posted and filed as required by law stating that the board would meet in closed session at 6:30 p.m. in Pitman High School Media Center. The President shall entertain any objections with supporting reasons to the conduct of this meeting on the grounds that it violates the Open Public Meeting Act. Seeing none, I think there's some additional seats if you guys want to kind of over in this area, there may be some seats or additional standing area if folks want to kind of come down in. All right, so good evening and welcome to tonight's Board of Education meeting. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Please join me in a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. DeSantis, will you please call roll?
Mrs. Bolton.
Here.
Mrs. Farrell. Mr. Grossman.
Present.
Mrs. Higby-Iono.
Here.
Mrs. Miller.
Here.
Mrs. Pappalardo.
Here.
Mrs. Pope.
Here.
Quorum 7-0.
Okay, that's going to bring us to our first public comment. The Pitman Public School Board recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express themselves on school matters of community interest. This is the first of two public comments we will have tonight. The first public hearing is on agenda items only. This is a public comment and not a dialogue between the board and the public. You will have 3 minutes to speak. In accordance with Board Policy number 0167, we ask that you state your name, municipality of residence, and group affiliation if applicable. To be recognized to speak, please stand at the podium located to my right. Okay. Seeing none. Mr. DeStratis, do we have any correspondence?
No.
I will now move to accept the motion of the minutes of the Pitman Board of Education as held on the dates listed below are approved as printed and reading dispensed with. May I have a second?
Second, Pappalardo.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any objections? Any abstentions? Okay, that's going to bring us to our presentation portion of the evening, and I'm going to turn it over. Oh, I apologize, I went out of order. To Dr. Preston.
Yeah. If the amount of teachers I'm seeing in this room is any indication of how exceptional this class of educational service professionals and teachers of the year are, it's truly impressive to see so many people out here. So I'm going to turn it over. We're going to start. I know I always do this. I start with the younger schools and work my way up to the high school. It's just force of habit. But I'm going to ask Ms. Miller to come present, and so the board can see and recognize officially our teachers and educational services professionals of the year. I also want to highlight that those particular individuals, the teachers of the year for the Governor's Teacher of the Year program, will be honored April 17th. So there's a date in April where the teachers of the year are going to be honored at GCIT.
16th.
The 16th. Always a great ceremony where we get to show their lovely pictures that we took while they were shocked in the hallways to the entire county. And so I'll turn it over to Ms. Miller at this point.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Congratulations. To celebrate them. This is definitely extra special for Memorial because both our Teacher of the Year and Educational Professional of the Year are in the same classroom. So I feel like you both should come up together. Mrs. Petito and Mr. Loveland. They have been a very dynamic team for the last 2 years in room 113. They have quite the following.
Can I just say that
yes.
First classroom I read to the students was Ms. Petito and Mr. Loveland. The best. Great class. So.
Great class. So we'll start with Mrs. Petito. Mrs. Petito, and I'm sure that I will have some mistakes, and we'll figure those out later. Mrs. Petito has been a dedicated preschool teacher with the Pitman School District for the past 4 years, bringing over 20 years of prior experience as a first grade teacher in a private school. Her extensive background in early education is evident in her instructional practices, classroom management, and deep understanding of her children. Callie is married to Mark, and they have 3 grown children, who she is very proud of. Daniel is serving in the Army and recently engaged. Andrea is a teacher and also recently engaged. And Michael is a junior at Monmouth, where he plays football, and a pay raise probably, right?
Yes, that too.
They often visit her classroom and read to her kids, and they love getting to know her family. She is kind and compassionate educator who consistently goes above and beyond with her students, her colleagues, and her families. She creates a warm and welcoming and judgment-free classroom environment where every individual is fostered in their learning of creativity, engagement, and every day is meaningful. Her commitment extends beyond the classroom as she regularly participates in school events, and her support of the community is inspiring. Her class recently or currently is collecting books for an organization called Book Smile. In addition to her work with her students, she is also a mentor at Memorial for both current staff and incoming staff, and she is a constant communicator with her families, her colleagues, with me when she arrives at my door every morning, and is dependable. Above all, she's very patient and inspiring to watch as a dedicated and invaluable member of Pitman School District. Congratulations. And her team and co-teacher here, her educational professional of the year, Mr. Matthew Loveland. Mr. Loveland has been a valued member of the Pitman School District for the past 5 years, beginning his service as a counselor with the Panther Club program and a substitute teacher. He currently serves as a classroom instructional aide in our preschool program in room 113, where he has worked alongside Mrs. Petito for the past 3 years. This year, he became a member of the district's Character Champion Council, and he is committed to supporting the district and its students and staff, and that is always evident. Matt lives in town with his wife, Tiffany, and their children, middle schooler Levi, and PES student Sadie. And prior to joining the Memorial staff, he earned his undergraduate degree in Missouri, right, Matt? In church studies and worked in a medical laboratory. He is currently pursuing his master's degree in school counseling, demonstrating his dedication to the growth of students and his passion for supporting them in meaningful ways. And in his spare time, he coaches 10U girls soccer. He is dependable, consistent, and a true team player, bringing both professionalism and joy to his work every day. He is always ready and willing to join in Mrs. Petito's out-of-the-box lessons. His students adore him, and often when I open the car line on the preschool side door, they say, well, we were waiting for Mr. Matt. And I say, okay, so we'll switch cars, and here comes Mr. Matt. We rely on him tremendously. He is calm and reassuring to the kids. He provides comfort and encouragement, and he serves as a thoughtful, level-headed source of support for his colleagues. He makes our school a better place. The only fault that I can find is he is unfortunately not an Eagles fan. But he's always a great sport about it. We are very fortunate to have Mr. Matt working with our youngest learners. Congratulations. We're doing pictures later?
Yeah, we'll do pictures after, so stick around for a second. Next up are our Teacher of the Year and Educational Service Professional of the Year at PES. So I'll ask Ms. Mason to come up and present.
Good evening. I am Mrs. Mason, one of the principals of PES. Mr. Morris is doing his walk up here. We are so excited. On behalf of Mr. Morris and myself, we're proud to announce PES's Teacher of the Year. First, we will bring up Mrs. Kristen Chapman. We're going to give you center stage. Mrs. Chapman is here with her husband, Mr. Chapman, who is also a teacher in district, and their two beautiful daughters, which attend East Greenwich Elementary School. Mrs. Chapman is a veteran teacher that has served the families in the Pitman district as a special educator. She has taught in grades K to 6 in a variety of different settings with many different colleagues. Mrs. Chapman wears many hats to contribute to the overall success of our school and district. Most recently, she is a member of our intervention and referral services team as a case coordinator, working closely with the classroom teachers and families. Not only does she dedicate her time as a special education teacher, but she also serves as head girls soccer coach for Pitman High School. She has been a staple in the Pitman community for a long time. She is respected by her colleagues, students, families, and the entire Pitman community. And this year in particular, I don't think I've ever gotten as many nominations as we did this year for you. And so we felt like we wanted to read some of the sentiments of your colleagues that they were in their nomination. They also attached pictures, which I was going to bring and pass around, moments that they just captured with you reading with children, and you probably don't even know. But I have this. I think you were in a closet for one of them. To quote her colleagues, Mrs. Chapman exemplifies patience, creativity, and deep, deep compassion. She tailors instruction to meet each student's individual needs, and daily she ensures that every learner feels valued and capable of success. Definitely agree. Another one was, what sets Mrs. Chapman apart is her unwavering care for her students' well-being. She recognizes that learning doesn't happen without these basic needs being met first. Her classroom is a safe haven, one where every student feels seen, supported, and loved. We are very fortunate to have you at our school and our students and community benefit. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Morris.
I have the pleasure, on the behalf of Mrs. Mason and myself, to announce our Educational Service Professional of the Year, and that's Mrs. Terry Zobel. Yes is the answer. Mrs. Zobel joins us with her daughter and her granddaughter here, and it's so nice to have them. Mrs. Zobel's connection goes back to a math classroom somewhere around 1997 or so in the same building. I don't know who else would have been there. But it's so nice to have those family connections and those Pitman connections. This is Mrs. Zobel's third year in the district, a major contributor to the opening of PES from the start. It's hard to believe because she feels not like a paraprofessional to us, but like a veteran teacher. Maybe that's because of her background as a mom, or her background as a skilled college professor. In her other times, I wonder how often we may have talked about the difference in behaviors between the ages. Sometimes there's not a lot. Mrs. Zobel works tirelessly as an instructional aide to support our sixth grade students. To concur with Mr. Loveland and what Mrs. Miller had to say, I think our instructional aides in the district, provide video support metaphorically for each of the students that they work with, when often some of the others, myself included, are the snapshots. We see a picture and that's it. We don't take them from point A to point B. And we're grateful to Mrs. Zobel for being that constant support for those students. And for those parents who've had sixth graders or those people who've worked in a school with sixth grade, they do need support. To share some of her colleagues' comments and sentiments, Terry's patience and kindness shine through as she answers questions, guides students, and helps them reach their full potential. Mrs. Zobel draws on her years of experience as a college professor to mentor students, always asking how she can assist and actively seeking ways to support the classroom teacher. Before I get to the lastly one, I think that Terry and I sat together in an office doing an interview And I think the one sentiment before I get to the last one here from her colleagues that I would want to share is that how lucky we are that she chose Pitman. Because, you know, her talents could have taken her anywhere else. But in that interview, she told me she wanted to be a part of the community. She wanted to be a part of a family. And the only thing we can hope is that we've been able to offer that. And then lastly, from her colleagues, truly Mrs. Zobel is an invaluable asset to PES, positively impacting all students and staff, and I wholeheartedly concur. Congratulations. May I take a hug or a handshake? Thank you.
Next up, last but not least, Ms. Stewart to present the nominees from the junior senior high school.
Okay. Good evening, everyone, and congratulations to all the winners tonight and the honorees. I'd like to call up Pitman Junior Senior High School's Teacher of the Year, Mrs. Sarah Wilden. As a teacher of music, I actually started to list all the things that she does, and it would just take too long, so we're going to focus on our top 3. As a teacher of music, choir director, and assistant director of our drama club, also known as a diva wrangler, Mrs. Wilden brings passion, energy, and heart to everything she does. She goes above and beyond for her students, giving of her time and support not only to help them grow as musicians, but also as confident, well-rounded individuals. Her classroom is a welcoming space where students feel safe, valued, and inspired to be themselves. Mrs. Wilden's impact extends beyond the classroom through concerts, events, and community involvement, where she creates meaningful connections between our school and the Pitman community, giving students opportunities to shine and share their talents with so many. Mrs. Wilden is also deeply committed to her own growth as an educator, recently earning her master's in music education and continuing her leadership journey. She leads by example, showing both students and colleagues what dedication and lifelong learning looks like. Most importantly, Mrs. Wilden's best trait is that she's someone who lifts others up. Her positivity, kindness, and enthusiasm make a lasting impression on everyone she meets. Please join me in recognizing Miss Sarah Wilden as our Teacher of the Year. I would hug you, Don. I'm so sick. I can hear it. I know. No hugs from me tonight. All right, we're going to call up our SB, Mrs. Heather Lester. Take the long way.
Huh?
You took the long way. I know.
Of course, late.
No, I was glad because they went with the young guys first. So,
like that.
All right. Mrs. Lester represents what it means to be an outstanding educational service professional. As our LDTC at Pitman Junior Senior High School, she consistently supports students, staff, and families through her organization, clear communication, and a deep commitment to student success. Mrs. Lester brings both professionalism and compassion to everything she does, working closely with teachers, parents, and administrators to ensure students receive the support and accommodations they need to succeed, always taking a collaborative approach. Mrs. Lester is especially dedicated to helping students plan for life after high school, helping students recognize their strengths, set meaningful goals, and feel confident about their future. Mrs. Lester goes above and beyond to support the school community, ensuring every student has equal access to food, clean clothing, and something special for every holiday. She organizes our comfort closet, coordinates holiday support for families in need, and leads charitable efforts through United Way, making a lasting impact well beyond the classroom. Mrs. Lester is the ultimate student advocate, and she is truly deserving of the award of Educational Service Professional of the Year. I said, we're pound because I'm so sick.
I'm glad the pig didn't work its way.
I was going to put something in there. But
Can we get all of the nominees and right over to the step and repeat? I think that's what you call it. For a picture.
It's called a stepping routine. What? I thought it was a background. It's called a stepping routine.
Yeah. We're going to take a brief recess so that we can take pictures with the honorees, and then if any family or friends would like get started. One moment. Yeah, so, all right, it's going to bring us to our second presentation of the evening, and I will turn it over to Mr. DeStratis and Dr. Preston.
All right. Testing, clear? All right. We have here a tentative budget presentation. Just really quickly want to outline the process. I'm just going to kind of give a high-level overview of what our kind of goals are. We have to create this in short order. I want to remind you. So on March 12th, the governor gave her budget address. 2 days later, we received state aid figures and updates. So what happens prior to that is we are just making some educated guesses as to what the budget is going to do. So then what happens next is a preliminary budget is presented to the board. That's what we're presenting tonight. I'm just kind of filling in the members of the public. Then we really scramble and we have essentially a month to put together the final budget. And that public hearing is going to take place on April 29th. And that's where we really put our heads together and say, really prioritize the things that I'm about to show you. There you have it. So really, again, this is the super high level overview. Then I'm going to give you a kind of a granular overview of what we're doing here, and just kind of break down our goals here. And again, this has been about a week that we've had to put this together. I want to give Mr. DeStratis some props because it's not easy to kind of pull all this together. We've met with our administrative team and kind of again we're trying to piece this together still. First off, we want to continue to offer the highest quality services and programs to our students. That's kind of self-evident. Which continuity is a word that keeps coming to mind. Like we have to figure out how we maintain. So we talk about that a lot. The biggest issue this year, and you're going to hear this a lot, even as Mr. DeStratis begins talking, and we're not alone in this. This is every school district in the entire state. Is the sharp rise of healthcare premiums. This year we received, and we are very fortunate to receive, which is surprising and ironic, an 18% healthcare adjustment, which amounts to about a $600,000 increase in premiums. We were warned of this, that it might be a potentiality, probably in the fall, December, late fall. There are districts in the surrounding areas that are up into the mid to high 30%. And so we are fortunate to be on the very lower end of those districts. Now, for reference, usually these adjustments are, in my experience, and I know in yours, around 5 to 10%. And so this is sort of unprecedented for budgeting purposes. Obviously, salary costs and tuition costs are much more easy for us to predict. And so really the healthcare is what I want to stress, is this sharp rise is really unprecedented. Obviously, one of the things the board stresses all the time, and we talk with the board and we're sensitive to as well, is keeping the local tax levy in check. As I was told once before I took the superintendency, is your job is to raise test scores and cut costs. And so that's something that's a running joke among school superintendents. That's really the thread there. This board is super supportive too, so I really appreciate that in building this. So really the three real things I want to talk about that is preserving programs. Again, continuity, maintain programs. That's the last thing we want to touch. Build capacity for in-district specialized programs. That's just a fancy way of saying we want to find a way to bring out-of-district students back and keep students in district, if I'm speaking plainly. And we have some ideas on how to do that we will flesh out over the next couple weeks. We've already talked about this as an administrative team. We develop wish lists, and we develop really positions that are tied to our goals, strategic plans. And obviously the board this is not new to the board either, those different ideas that we have. And so we're going to kind of put our heads together and think where we go from there with that. Optimize use of district facilities to increase revenue, another fancy administrative way of saying we want to take advantage of two assets that we have in district that we're not currently having students in, and that's Walls and Kindle. I want to give a shout out to Mr. DeStratis, Mr. Caltabiano, in restructuring the lease agreements for Walls and Kindle to bring us significantly higher revenues for next year. Washington Township will be occupying those buildings. I want to say it's probably 60% higher than we're currently revenuing. And so roughly 65%. I'm not an accountant like Mr. C and Mr. DeStratis. And so those are really the high level goals there. How do we bring students in? How do we keep the students we have from moving and leaving? And the real answer to that is designing programs that meet their needs. And so that's really the high level goal, the leadership and administrative goal of this budget. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. DeStratis to talk numbers and really kind of demystify the whole budget process for you.
All right, thanks. Good evening, everybody. Take a look at this myself while we do this. It's been a great year being here. I'm glad to be at this point of the year where it's time to talk budget and get into a budget that I can help you create. So I want to read through and explain some numbers and not necessarily read them. They're all right there. This would just be way too long. So we're just talking about a few things here of highlights. The maintenance allocation, we're showing another increase going into next year. We want to continue to invest in the buildings and in the campuses as best we can. And these are the regular maintenance items. This has nothing to do with the referendum projects or anything like that. That's separate. Okay, we want to talk about maximizing enterprise funds, and what that means is there are certain costs that we can share into the food service and to the Panther Club, and even with the lease program going on with Washington Township. Some of those costs will then be used to offset some of the general fund costs. Maintenance reserves and fund balance. In the current year, we've utilized $100,000 in maintenance reserve. Next year, we're going to use $300,000 and bring that in. The fund balance in the current year, $844. Next year is down to $300. So you may remember that we did do an allocation of maintenance reserve of $300,000 into the maintenance reserve at the end of last year. This is essentially undoing that and bringing it back into the budget because we see it as more useful being put into place right now for the budget. It's going to help us more now. And that maintenance reserve, while we want to add to that whenever we can, in this case, it makes more sense to grab it and put it back to use. Okay. State aid is formula driven, and this is not going to be a state aid conversation. We're not going to go through the formula elements and all the multipliers and all the factors that change every year and become what they are. But I do want you to be aware that in the current year we are 100% funded according to the formula. Last year there was an increase of 4% from the state, which got us to that 100%. They do have this cap situation, right, that they added last year, where districts could not lose more than 3% in state aid or gain more than 6%. And Pitman received 4%, falling right in that zone. It brought us to 100. Now going forward, with the formula and all the calculations, their formula says we should be close to $7 million. But with those 3% down and 6% up caps, we only received $295,000. So we instantly become underfunded, and we are at 76% funded at this point for next year. So that is a challenge that we would not have wanted to ask for. That's just the way the formula works. And go ahead.
If I could just jump in, I'll speak loudly. You're good? I'm good. He said I'm good. So I just want to kind of highlight this. It's as shocking as it looks. And so I had put a message out to teachers when we first got the state aid number saying, because a lot of people were saying, wow, hooray, everything's great, we got the 6%. And it was, right? We don't want to be ungrateful to an extent. But the reality is the formula, the actual state aid formula calls for $6.9 million, and we're only receiving 5.226. So I guess there's a frustration, and we expressed this, and we'll talk about it a little bit today, but Ms. Miller and myself presented in front of the assembly today, and we basically said it's ironic that when there was no caps when we were losing all this money in Pitman, almost $7.5 million without inflation adjusted over the past 6, 7, 8 years. And all of a sudden, now that we finally received an enrollment adjustment, our numbers aggregate over time are ticking up. All of a sudden, now we're capped. So it is frustrating. If you look at that number, and in subsequent slides, you'll see exactly what type of tax increase we're looking at, a levy increase we're looking at. You'll see just in my layperson, CFO mind, that would completely balance our budget if we received that money. Completely. It'd be we could go to at the time of 0% tax raises, and it's just frustrating, and I just wanted people to be aware of that. That's what we're dealing with, and that's what we're trying to advocate for. On a legislative level, this board in particular has done a really good job of that, and I'll get into that later. But I digress. Sorry. I'll do it.
All right, so let's just talk about managing spending over the years again. This is just across the last few years, including next year. Let's work from the bottom up, though, just so you understand the debt service. This is the money that you're paying towards the referendum projects. In the current year, the old referendum just rolled off your tax levy, and in the future year is the beginning of the new referendum. Now, the state does provide some aid for that debt. They give us about $450,000 of that, so about $850,000 would be a tax levy, and we'll show you that broke down at the end. Special revenue is full of grants, so those are the IDEA grants for special education, Title I, and some other small items that work in. That's always going to look smaller in the future year no matter what, because the state tells us to budget 75% of the current amount into that future year, so that's never going to look like it's growing. And then general is everything else, including any capital reserve that the district draws into projects. We do have 2 resolutions as part of tonight's agenda after the budget resolution for capital projects. So that's included in that number. Managing spending over the year, I just want you to see New Jersey Department of Education has a consumer price index that they issue every year. Those are the last couple of years that we're looking at large increases, and the general fund levy being from the board, from the district, 2%, 329, and now 352 for next year. Primary cost drivers. As we discussed, these are the large items. $1.5 million from those 3 items in increases for next year, and I included that extra tuition note there. At this time last year, again, it's a budget presentation every year, there was just under $2 million set aside for those tuition costs. And as of right now, we have already transferred another $300,000 to cover additional costs that may not have been known at the time. And this is kind of what happens with those tuition contracts as we go through the year. They aren't entirely predictable. Tax levy and impact. So I mentioned 3.52 as the number. I wanted you to be able to see that there is a debt component from the referendum project in parentheses, which is a little over half of what the total amount is for the different assessed values of the homes in town.
And I'm sorry, just to reiterate, that number is fixed. That was essentially already voted for.
Right, the referendum from the prior year, that's built in. It's just the time when the payment schedule of those debts come due. That's this is how we have to recoup that from the town. This is the timing of that. So there you go, 230. All right, let's just talk about the overall picture a little bit more on what the district is able to do. Beginning with the current year of $16.5 million up there. That's the current tax levy. A 2% cap, everybody talks about 2% cap. That's what we're allowed, the district is allowed to go to automatically without any other factors involved. $330,000 is available in that. There was an enrollment adjustment because our weighted enrollment, which again comes from formula and factors of the state aid, provided an opportunity for an increase of $410,000. There's a healthcare adjustment. While our premiums go up over $600,000, the state calculates that we have an adjustment available to us to raise additional taxes to pay for it, and that equals $250,000. and there's a banked cap of 15,000. Banked cap is was derived last year when you also had a healthcare adjustment, but the board decided to not use the entire adjustment. And so what was left over then kicks into this year and is available now. So we are in this 3.52%. We are going with 2% for the cap amount and then adding the entire healthcare adjustment this year, equaling just over 17 million and 3.52%. Let's talk about that one little piece again, because the total allotment, again, of all of the levers that the district can pull equals about $17.5 million with all those adjustments in. The amount we're using in this budget is just over 17. There's that new gap. So there's amount that the district is allowed to take, and if they take less than that, it creates another piece of cap. So those two pieces of banked cap now become available next year. And any banked cap that's created has up to 3 years to be used. But next year, it would be $440 available to the district, along with the 2% and any adjustments that may crop up next year when you go through this process. Any questions from the board?
Yeah, before I turn it over to the board for questions too, I just wanted to just talk about too, just again, high level questions, the 3.52%. The maximum tax authority, I obviously want to applaud the board for trying to balance supporting schools and being sensitive to, obviously, the taxpayer. The maximum taxing authority of Pitman is actually 6.1% this year. And I've already gotten the question from, not anybody on the board, but some members of the public saying, how are these neighboring districts going to 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way, I think I've seen 14%. It's because they have different taxing maximums that they can achieve. And some boards are choosing to do that, which is a bit risky too. You know, and I talk about a silver lining with the bank cap. Well, don't get me started on the enrollment adjustment. I think you made the point too, that enrollment adjustment, and we didn't even get a chance to talk about this as a board. It's just frustrating because it's the first time the state's recognizing, hey, Pitman over an aggregate, over an average long term, is actually enrolling more kids than we're supporting. We need to throw more money their way. So they threw that $410,000. It just feels like that should be what the state, like, just you fund that. Actually, I don't know if that's an angle we can take it at a Senate hearing.
So it is actually in the original SFRA bill that there was language encompassed within it that would allow you to appeal to the commissioner for enrollment. However, that was removed as an avenue of relief. And so unfortunately the growth rate calculation looks back over a longer period, and it uses that third root rather of the various enrollments. It's just the challenge, and it's unfortunate. But I mean, it's nice that we are, you know,
banking it.
Yeah, well, seeing some folks return.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's a positive trend, and again, we just wish things were different. I'm sorry for expressing a little frustration, but yeah, I want to turn it over to the board for questions on the budget. Anything stick out? Any questions?
Are there questions that anybody has about the budget? I think that just for members of the public's information, this is always a very difficult process that the board works through. We've had kind of a lot of discussions within the committee structure. I know that individual board members have reached out to Mr. Stratus and Dr. Preston. It's obviously a difficult year with the governor, you know, the late budget address this year coming on March 10th and us receiving our state aid numbers on March 12th. It very much abbreviates the process for us. It makes it difficult. We heard today health increases of 36% in other districts. So it's very difficult. We heard of districts that have saw double-digit percentage increases for the last 6 years and are looking at a 26% increase. Right. So we certainly are trying to balance that. But do any individual members have budget-related questions?
I don't know if it's budget related, but
Wait,
maybe when we get to finance and facilities, I have a question.
Okay.
But I think
Right.
it's
So I think that we've all kind of had the opportunity to look over this information in advance of this evening. And
Great. Yeah. Thank you.
thank you. Okay. that is going to take us to the President's report. But prior to taking us to the President's report, I'm actually going to ask for a brief recess for about 5 minutes. So if we could take a recess for about 5 minutes and we'll reconvene you shortly. Is everyone comfortable with that? Okay. All right, thank you. Last week, and really kind of be the point person, so I appreciate everyone's help in doing so. I was too busy hearing all the lyrics to Legally Blonde musical at our house. That was what we now all have in our head. The show was really wonderful, and I thought all the kids were tremendously talented. Mr. Pitman was obviously in the interim from our last meeting as well. Just some updates for the entire board. I attended the March 14th Legislative Committee meeting, which included the new Chief of Staff, Chris Williams. He is the recently appointed DOE Commissioner, Dr. Lily Locke's Chief of Staff. He was really great. He provided us with some overview information as it pertained to some of the things that she's prioritizing as she steps into her new role. I wasn't able to make the entire meeting, but I did stick around for the funding conversation. We also had a kickoff meeting for a funding delegation that's being convened by Assembly Majority Leader Greenwald regarding the funding formula that occurred yesterday. It was definitely a preliminary information, kind of facts finding, gathering discussion. So I'm hopeful that we'll see some level of progression with that committee as well. Dr. Preston and I provided assembly testimony today. Do you want me, can I clarify?
Yeah,
okay,
please.
great.
Yeah.
So to speak to some of the things that Dr. Preston talked about in his budget debate or presentation rather, if we raised our 2% tax cap, it would not capture our salary increases for our current staff from one year to the next. And if we use the tax cap levy for healthcare, that adjustment only covers 42% of our increased premiums. So out of the gate, we're running at about a $43,000 deficit just using those two taxing authority.
430, right?
43,000, right? $43,000 to be our deficit if you added the salary increases and the tax cap minus the healthcare adjustment and the 2%.
Right.
So these are some of the fiscal challenges that the district is kind of trying to balance as we discuss the budget. I think to kind of piggyback on your conversation about how upsetting it is that for once the formula went our way and we were a formula winner, and now we're missing nearly $1.7 million that have been capped by the 6% increase. So that was our efforts today in our assembly testimony, was advocating for a restoration of those funds. We also asked that the state, they're flat funding extraordinary special education aid, which we know is a huge cost area and a high needs area within all educational agencies in the state. So flat funding is decreased funding, frankly, and so we're advocating for them to increase the funding of extraordinary special education aid. We also encourage them to include transportation. That's not currently a line item that is encompassed within extraordinary special education. You also receive that aid category at the end of the year after the bills have already been paid. And we talked about some of the other areas that we've discussed in the past from a legislative advocacy perspective, and we'll continue to do so and participate in those conversations. As we know, and we've talked about at length, Gloucester County is held to the highest level of fidelity as it pertains to being revalued compared to municipalities that have not been reassessed in 40 plus years and are at single digit real to assessed value. So we know there's areas of wealth in their communities that are not being identified on the funding formula. So they are in turn receiving more aid than they should because their community in fact has greater wealth than is reflected in the funding formula. And so that's something that we want to continue to focus on in our advocacy efforts because frankly it just disproportionately impacts Gloucester County and to a lesser degree Monmouth and Mercer County. So we'll continue to advocate for legislative action as it surrounds that issue because I think that that is a very concrete, simple, you know, what do the kids say, like the math isn't mathing? Isn't mathing, so it's important for us to kind of consider those things. Tomorrow night we have the 8th grade dialogue. Which members are attending of the board? Obviously Mrs. Pote will be attending as her daughter is our 8th grade. Mr. Grossman.
I'll be back.
Okay. Ms. Biaiono.
Mr. C?
Yes.
Okay, great. So refreshments will be served at 5:30 and the program starts at 6. This weekend, PES Maskers play will be happening on Friday night at 7, Saturday night at 7, and Saturday at 2 p.m. I'm hoping to go to the matinee, so I'm hoping, I know Mrs. Pote said she would be going as well.
Not the matinee, but 7.
Oh, 7, you're going to 7.
Saturday,
Okay.
yeah.
And then on Monday, we'll have the Senate testimony. I believe Mr. DeStratis will be joining me for the Senate testimony. Are there other members of the board that would like to go? Always
Planning on it,
Okay.
depending on work stuff.
Do we have a time yet?
I'm in the afternoon session from 12:30 to 2:30. They're never running on time. We weren't even on the second page yet, and we got there pretty much when it was supposed to start.
Okay.
But we were home by 3:15 today, 3:30, somewhere in that neighborhood. We were only at the
Maybe.
State House, though. We have to go up to NJIT for the Senate.
Ew. How far ago is that? 2 hours?
It's up in
All right,
Newark.
Regardless.
It's like
Okay.
an hour
Keep going.
It's not too bad.
As much fun as that sounds like.
You're gonna pass.
Good.
You'll be at work.
Yeah.
Okay. So Mrs. Biaiono may be going. Mrs. Bolton tentatively. Any other members of the board that would like to come along? Okay. I had circulated out an email to the entire board, as always. If there's any points that we're advocating for from a legislative perspective that you have a position on that is not reflected in my testimony, please reach out. Let me know so that I can indicate that my testimony is on my own behalf only. Mrs. Pappalardo, we also circulated as part of a housekeeping email our intention to have an ad hoc committee for the self-evaluation that we did as a board. We thought that that was a really quick way to progress through some of those details. If we have any volunteers for said committee, it would be Zoom only, probably one meeting to review through the data and come up with 3 board goals. God bless.
I'll do it if you need.
Okay. Mrs. Bolton?
No, I don't mind either.
Oh, okay, great. It was like a game of chicken. I was like looking over here.
Who's
All
gonna
right,
go
great.
first?
So Mrs. Pote, Mrs. Bolton, Mrs. Pappalardo, you'll review the self-evaluation that was completed by all board members and Dr. Pressman on his behalf and the administrative team. And then perhaps in April, we can share out some board goals that you guys have arrived upon based on the common talking
Oh, I
point.
see that.
And I think that's it. I'll turn it over to Dr. Preston.
Thank you, Ms. Miller.
Later.
I just want to update, at the last meeting, I had met with the Council of Churches. I just want to let the board know that I did have a conversation with Pastor Mike at the, Pastor Mike and Pastor Drew of the Council of Churches, who we had talked about restarting the baccalaureate. We're aiming for the week of May 25th, 26th to do it then. We have conflicts from June all the way to graduation because it's condensed. Graduation's early this year. The Council of Churches would probably prefer to use the auditorium. I said that wouldn't be an issue. They are doing the bulk of the planning, but our job will be, obviously, it's optional, but of course we'll promote it. That's something I believe that hasn't happened here since 2019, is
I
that?
think they stopped at
COVID? Yeah, so 2019, yeah. So they're excited about that, and we are too. And obviously, hopefully we get a good student turnout, and it should be a great event. So I just wanted to let you guys know that I did have that conversation. Still in the planning phase on what that looks like. I'll probably go to their meeting in April to really figure that out and then dig down on a date.
Is that Memorial Day weekend?
Yeah, it's the week after Memorial Day, but the week before.
So
June.
the 31st is
What's
after Memorial Day weekend. The 24th and 25th are Memorial Day. That's why I was like, are you doing
24th,
it
25th, yeah, so the week of it's either going to be the 26th, 27th, or 28th, most likely.
Okay, like a night during the week.
A night during the week,
Okay.
yes, yep. Track update, I see some track coaches here. We did receive an email a couple days ago that, again, tentative. We have not actually had our construction meeting, but I'm trying to be as transparent as possible that April 6th, they're eyeing April 6th as the date to lay that surface. I know Mr. DeStratis has been meeting with, the track coaches and some, where's our AD? Ms. Hess, to make sure that some of the issues with, I guess the track surface actually settling, fixing those issues prior to the track surface actually being laid down. And then I think it takes a couple days to cure. You guys probably would know better than me, so hopefully we get access to that pretty soon. It's exciting.
Figure like May.
Yeah.
Is there a home warranty with that?
Yeah, for sure.
Real mad.
8th grade dialogue you touched on. That's exciting. I have to announce HSA bingo on Friday night with
Sold out.
Mayor Razzie.
It is sold out.
I'm
Oh,
excited
Mayor
about
Rezzi
that.
as well.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
I'll be there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, are you
Yeah.
calling the games
I'm
too?
call, well, we're calling them in tandem. I have some ideas on games that they might not know of.
that they might not know
Yeah,
of. That's
I-
what people like.
yeah.
New bingo games.
Well, So
In a
I
loud,
do need to talk
crowded
to the mayor about
auditorium.
that. Yeah. So
Put the rules up on the female members of the board will be there. We did not think Mr. Grossman would enjoy
Yes.
playing for handbags.
I didn't get an invite.
To be fair, you're right. We didn't even invite you.
Good call. Thanks, sir. Even though the stitching's coming out of my Michael Kors bag, I could use the
Maskers, I did get a chance to speak to our Masters director, Sam Grossman, today. Really excited. He sent out an invite to our administrative team. We're excited about that play. Peter Pan Jr. So that's certainly exciting. Something to look forward to. And last but not least, I want to introduce our new head football coach at Pitman High School. And before I do so, I just want to say, I didn't know, we have very rigorous teacher interviews. Often we have teachers come and teach a class, multiple rounds. I didn't know how rigorous an actual football coach interview is. It's my first one ever done. And so because I'm a neophyte, I actually involved Mr. Caltabiano, who is a longtime football coach, was part of the committee. And I want to thank Mr. Jeff Smith, who is probably our singular returning football coach, assistant football coach in the program, and just want to thank his encouragement and kind of assistance through this whole process. They designed a really rigorous process. We had quite a few candidates that we and Miss Stewart also was in that. Miss Hess also organized that. So certainly really rigorous and really getting a shot into high school football. The intelligence that's behind it, the strategy that's behind it. And I don't know if there's anything else you want to add about
Just
that process.
Just shout out to Sam Adams, one of our
Yeah.
incoming
That's
seniors, who joined us for the final round and had a couple questions prepared, and he did a really nice job. And he walked away with a good feeling about the candidate, which made us feel pretty good about it too.
That's
So,
right.
Yeah.
So without further ado, I want to introduce head coach Lamont Harris Jr. to the team. And I want to just a little bit about his background. He was an all-decade, you can blush, but he was an all-decade running back at St. Augustine Prep in the mid-2000s. Then ran at Widener, and I haven't researched him enough, but obviously his resume stood for itself. Just a really great football mind. Obviously has been in the midst of some really great football coaches at the Prep, long-serving coach at the Prep, as he calls it, the Prep. He's currently, his professional experience, he's currently teaching at Camden Charter, pursuing PE certs. So that's certainly exciting as well. Really good temperament. Sam Adams, who Mr. Caltabiano talked about, just couldn't say enough about just the presence, the aura you feel. And really the football knowledge is what stuck out to me. And boy, I'll tell you, between Mr. C and Mr. Smith, they grilled him. You might have think he was applying for the Philadelphia Eagles head coach job. So I kind of just took a back seat. The one thing that really stood out to me was that he's been in an environment like Pitman, and I said, look, Pitman's a special place, and it has that kind of parochial, almost private school feel, and he kind of could pick up on that right away. I think he said at one point in one of the interviews, he said, it feels like the prep when I walk down the hallway. So I'm really excited to have Coach Harris, and thanks for coming tonight, and we're looking he's probably going to hit the ground running pretty soon, obviously with the weight room, and he's not too far away, and we're really excited to have you. So welcome.
Yes, welcome aboard.
That concludes my report.
Very good. I'll turn it over to our student representative.
I had a lot to read. For the junior-senior high school, the junior high celebrated Pie Day, where Mrs. Shivo had a Pie Day extravaganza with food, music, and games. They also had their own academic spirit week alongside the senior high with dress-up days. The senior high helped assist the staff luncheon, which we heard great feedback on. The Pitman staff had a fun time trying to uncover the murder mysteries. Quizzo and Academic Bowl also occurred during this week and were a huge success as always. We had a few senior students go help with the senior outreach luncheon and what we call the seniors supporting seniors. The band performed at Rowan for the Concert Band Festival this month. Also, Legally Blonde took place on the 19th, 20th, and 21st of March, and Mr. Pitman on Friday, March 6th. Students were taking NJ GPA tests this month as well, unfortunately for them. Not me, though. Lastly, the Student Council is in the process of renovating the high school bathrooms, so I'd say it was a pretty busy month for us. Then Memorial kicked the month off with Read Across America Week. They had many special readers throughout the week. Council members from Pitman to assemblymen from the NJ House of Representatives, the football and cheer team, and student representative Emily. The favorite book of the week was Peanut Butter and Cupcake. Everyone loved the story and the silly jokes. Author Nancy Vio wrapped up the week with visits to all the preschools and workshops in the library for kindergarten and first grade. You can check out her books in the Memorial Library and McCown Memorial Library. They are perfect for preschool through first grade. They hosted an amazing art show with 3D art and neon ocean exhibit. Kindergarten grown-ups joined them for our lunchtime chew and chat, and they had a masked reader assembly. They are collecting cereal for the rest of March, and all cereal will be donated to United Way and other local food banks. PES has even more new clubs thanks to HSA. Origami, STEM, and Garden Club are just some of the newest additions. The Maskers Drama Program presents Peter Pan Jr. on March 27th and 28th. The school continues to implement the new district character education program. This month they are focusing on the virtue of humility. Students are earning tickets for exhibiting this trait and being role model students. Academically, teachers and students have been working hard in the classroom. Teachers have been implementing TPT strategies to enhance student engagement. They are also preparing for their upcoming state assessments in late April and early March, I guess. Or maybe that was supposed to say May. No. I didn't write this. That's it.
Thank you. Okay, it's going to take us over to Finance Facilities. I'll turn it over to Committee Chairwoman Mrs. Bolton.
Okay. All right, Finance and Facility Committee met virtually on March 18th at 3:30 p.m. In attendance were Dr. Preston, Mr. DeStratis, Mr. Caltabiano, Mrs. Pote, and myself. We discussed the items on the agenda with 1 through 6 just being normal, regular paying bills and closing out the months of January and February. Number 7 is the preschool budget, and number 8 and 9 are finishing up the project of moving the board offices to Wall School and furnishings for the new offices. Last but not least, we talked extensively about the budget. Definitely took up, actually we might have went over the buzzer for a minute or so.
It's okay.
But it's you know, like we said earlier, it's one of those things that we all take seriously as a board, so we really want to make sure we're doing our due diligence to ask questions and to know what's going on with that. So I guess with that, I'll make a motion to approve agenda items 1 through 10. 11 and 12, we did not have enough time to discuss, so we would like to table that
Mr.
until.
Long, how should she proceed? Should she motion to table?
Motion to table 11 and 12 off the top.
Okay.
And then motion to approve the remaining items.
Okay, so I'll make a motion first to table 11 and 12, and then.
That's it.
That's it.
Oh, we have
That's
to
it.
do
That's it for right now.
Okay, so
Okay.
motion to amend, or to table.
Motion to table item 11 and 12.
May I have a second?
Second.
Okay, and.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any abstentions? Any objections? Okay, now we need to amend item number 7. What was the issue?
It's just a date that wasn't rolled up for the future
Oh,
year.
instead of 26, 27, it says
Right.
25, 26.
Oh, I do see that.
So amend number 7 next?
Sure. I mean, that's just as long as it's understood. It's a Scrivener's error, so I don't even really think you need to do that. As long as it's understood and reflected in the
Okay,
minutes.
so everyone
Fix it
is.
in the minutes.
Yeah, just
Okay,
reflect in the
everyone
minutes.
is
It's fine.
understanding that that just has a typo. Okay, great. So then, Mrs. Bolton, if you want a motion to approve.
Alright, so I'll make a motion to approve items 1 through 10 as written.
Okay, may I have a second?
Yeah, you can do 1 through 10, and then 13 through whatever.
No, it's just
That's
1
it.
through
That's
10
it?
is good.
I'll shut up now.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what? All right, so
1 through 10.
Mrs. Bolton made a motion to approve. May I have a second?
Second, Pope.
Okay, and then prior to calling the roll, would you like to expand upon items 8 and 9,
Yeah,
the
I just
funding
want
source?
to, yeah, if I can, I just want to expand upon the funding source, not just the funding source, but the process we use for the office furniture. So last year, we had set aside funds to redo the central office. We moved from Memorial to Walls, second floor, and that was getting reconstructed. Last year, this is just for your background, we had an order with Belia, but in light of what we received state funding wise, we decided to slash that, cut that basically in half, and essentially defer some of the purchases of that office space there. And so this is the deferral period of this, and that's why we're trying to order that there for the office. That it's a smattering of tables, executive tables, conference tables, partitions for some of the secretaries that are in that space, a couple other things. Desk chairs, just general items with that. As far as funding source goes, I don't know, Mr. DeStratis, if you can kind of elaborate on the SDA, essentially gift.
Right. It's a little strange. There's an emergent grant that can be available through the SDA, and sometimes they go unnoticed because they notify you via memo. And I showed up again last July, and I think the first time I saw something was October. And at that point they said, well, you actually have like 2 years worth of these that have piled together, and if you submit this application, you can then use it. So we were able to put that together, and we essentially used that money to offset the PES vestibule, which was already in the district's budget. And the way that kind of all falls out, the domino effect is money became available for the furniture. So overall, we end up to the better because we didn't spend it all on furniture,
Right.
just the portion that we still needed to.
So thank you, I just wanted to clarify
Perfect.
that.
Okay, great. All right, Mr. DeStratis, please call the vote. Oh, I'm sorry, any further discussion amongst the board or follow-up questions? Okay, and Mr. DeStratis, please call the vote.
Mrs. Bolton?
Yes.
Mrs. Farrell?
Yes.
Mr. Grossman?
Yes.
Mrs. Higby-Iono?
Yes.
Mrs. Papalardo?
Yes.
Mrs. Pope?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, that's going to bring us to curriculum and instruction. I'll turn it over to our committee chairwoman, Mrs. Higby-Iono.
The Curriculum and Instruction Committee met on March 18th at 4:30 p.m. In attendance were Mrs. Farrell, Dr. Preston, Mr. Caltabiano, Mr. DeStratis, and myself. The committee discussed the district calendar for the 26-27 school year, which was mildly complicated by Labor Day being unusually late. and the need to accommodate the Highland Quality Carnival, which must be done, which made it impossible to begin school the week before Labor Day. So the administration was able to build in snow days while still setting an end of year date in mid-June. So I think nice work, gentlemen. We're approving the hiring tonight of Lamont Harris Jr. as our new head football coach for PHS. He brings, as Dr. Preston elaborated, a solid background in the sport, and we're excited to see the program grow. We believe we'll be able to extend the length of the day of the summer program in a way that will benefit the students and staff. The program this summer will be run out of Memorial and the junior senior high due to the work being done at PES. With that, I move to adopt items 1 through 27 as written.
Okay, may I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, seeing none. Mr. Distratus, please call the vote.
Mrs. Bolton?
Yes.
Mrs. Farrell? Mr. Grossman?
Yes.
Mrs. Higbaiono?
Yes.
Mrs. Papalardo?
Yes.
Mrs. Pope?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Oh, I apologize. Can I amend my answer?
Yep.
I abstain from number 4. And yes to the rest. All right.
Got it.
Thank you. Sorry. All right, communication policy, I'll turn it over to committee chairwoman, Mrs. Farrell.
The Communication Policy Committee met on March 18th at 5:30. In attendance were Mrs. Higbaiono, Dr. Preston, Mr. Caltabiano, and myself. The first item listed on the agenda is the second reading of the current policies listed there. The second item is the first reading of Policy 5112, which is a revision of the entrance age policy, just with clearer language. The policy states that a child entering preschool must be at least 3 years old, but younger than 5 years old, as of October 1st of the school year. So with that, I move to adopt items 1 through 2 as written.
Okay, may I have a second?
Second, Higby.
Okay, any discussion?
I just wanted to add, right before I came, I checked my inbox. There's a Strauss Esme free seminar. I think it's for board members and administrators. Did you get that too?
I didn't see it yet.
I believe it's May 29th. I don't know. I'll get it in our April report, but I just want to let you know that that's the first time I've seen that. It's evidently going to give key updates to several of the things that we had been already discussing, and including the cell phone policy. So I'll get that. I'll circulate that around. It might be April 29th, but I can't remember. So that's why I wanted to say it now.
Okay, very good. Okay, is there any further discussion on items 1 or 2? Seeing none, Mr. Distratus, please call the vote.
Mrs. Bolton?
Yes.
Mrs. Farrell?
Yes.
Mr. Grossman?
Yes.
Mrs. Higbaiono?
Yes.
Mrs. Papalardo?
Yes.
Mrs. Pope?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. It's going to bring us to our second public comment. To be recognized to speak, stand at the podium located to my right. State your name, municipality, residence, and group affiliation if applicable. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Hi, Amy Reed. I'm at 117 Magnolia Avenue. I want to thank the board first for your advocacy regarding the budget. I have some questions about another potential pain point, and I want to frame them by saying I don't really expect answers, but they're just things that I hope the board is thinking of along with other boards and school districts across the country, and that is the issue of AI. So I know that the district has a policy on AI. I've talked to Mr. Caltabiano about it before. Thank you for sharing it with me. As I understand it, the policy is 6th grade and below cannot use AI in the district. 7th and above can with parental approval. So I just wanted some clarification on who is responsible for obtaining the consent of parents. Is it the individual teachers who might be using those tools in their classroom? Is it the district sending out consent forms, or is it, the junior senior high, because that's really the only building that we're talking about here, like their administration? So that's the first question. The second question is sort of like along those lines. Has there been any consideration given to the process by which consent might be obtained? So most of us are probably familiar with medical research, where you wouldn't just, if you were getting an experimental treatment, they wouldn't just say, this is going to extend your life, sign this form, but they actually go through a process of informed consent. And given the real risks, well, the unknowns, first of all, with AI in education, but the real risks that are mounting in research on cognitive abilities of students, on their emotional and social well-being, I'm just wondering if there's been any thought given to educating parents about the potential risks of using AI in that consent process that will start happening. And then my third question, and this one's getting a little bit in the weeds. So I have a daughter in 6th grade. I'm not an expert in IT, but she complains a lot about the fact that she's asked to do assignments for school where she's required to go on her Chromebook, look on the internet, find information. Obviously, this is all expected, but a lot of the websites are restricted that she's trying to use. So even things that have like .edu as the website. And so what's left to her is the Google AI overview. And just from like an information literacy standpoint, I think we're all probably aware at this point there can be hallucinations there, inaccuracies. In addition, what we may not be aware of is that the Google AI overviews, from my understanding, draw from a lot of the internet. So they might draw from those very sites that are restricted in other ways from our students. So something like Reddit. They also draw from other LLMs, like, for example, Grok, which if you've seen in the news is currently being sued for allowing prompting and then giving receipt back of sexually explicit material of minors. So like there are real safety issues potentially with them having access to Google AI overviews. So I'm just wondering, again, I'm not an IT person, if there's any way to like restrict the AI overview, encourage them to go to these other more trusted and credible websites, and yeah, so just whether any thought has been given to any of those questions.
Does anybody, so.
Guardian, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah, we talk about this all the time.
Yeah, we do.
So if
We
a
do.
student is
Go
online
for it.
and they're using something and their teacher has up Go Guardian
Mhm.
and they can see what they're using, the teacher does have the ability to unblock that for them, correct?
Not currently.
Not currently.
But we're getting ready to, we just met recently about that, and we're getting ready to put, so our last admin meeting was a discussion we had about giving teachers the authority to allow certain websites, and we all agreed it's something we want to do because of reasons just like that. So we haven't put that in place yet, just for reasons of logistics, but it's something that we've discussed and we're going to be implementing.
So as a board, are we comfortable referring this to our communication and policy committee for further discussion, perhaps at the April meeting or May meeting, depending upon what challenges there? I thank you for bringing this to our attention. I know you and I have privately had this conversation. It's definitely something that is kind of evolving very quickly. The NJSBA has provided pretty extensive training. Their county activities coordinator, Ray Penny, is the gentleman who is very interested in this topic and has provided some more in-depth knowledge to board members who are interested. So I think this would probably fit best under the purview of communication and policy. So we'll go ahead and take those meeting minutes and look at that on that agenda.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are you comfortable? Is everyone comfortable with that? I don't want to unilaterally make that. Everyone's good with referring to communication and policy for further discussion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Go ahead,
On
sure.
that topic, because it's a very pertinent and topical thing. I know both Mr. Caltabiano and I we do have a meeting coming up with some experts, actually from Rowan, they were invited to other local school districts to give seminars on AI. I like the material we've seen, so we actually I think our meeting's coming up in a couple weeks. Really just to kind of dig in on it. Obviously I have concerns. I saw the recent Harvard study that actually shows cognitive decline in adults that use AI, significant cognitive decline, writing decline, and obviously it becomes a crutch and reliability issues and all that. So certainly, I think we're learning that just technology is a bit of a Pandora's box just in general, right? And we should have all known that 15, 20 years ago. So we have to be very scrupulous and careful about how we approach it. So yeah, I'd like to approach it. I'd like to discuss it more at length in the curriculum or the communication policy.
Okay.
But I think by that meeting, we should have met with them and see what they offer as far as an approach goes to full district.
Yeah, we're one of the most restrictive districts in terms of AI use. A lot of the districts that are in our county are using it K to 12 very broadly for multiple uses, very limited amount of uses as well, where we restricted it to certain activities. For example, brainstorming was one of the 3 approved activities that a teacher could use it for. Just because Dr. Preston and I had a lot of concerns around AI and what it could be in a world where we don't know much about it still. We're still learning, all of us.
Right.
Even in our own use, we learn a lot about it. So while teachers can use it for their own needs, we have a lot of restrictions around how students use it, up to and including the fact that, as Ms. Reed said, it's only for 7 to 12 right now. But I'll get you some answers to some of your other questions too as well, and thank you for coming up. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Great topic.
Would anyone else like to participate in public comment at a public hearing? Okay. Seeing none, is there any old business? Any new business? Okay, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
We're not bringing that back.
So moved. Papalardo.
That's to be discussed. So move Papalardo. May I have a second?
Second, Grossi.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The next regular Board of Education meeting will be held on April 29th at